Good evening everybody, welcome back to TTTV. This is TTL F1, which takes us to round number 10 and the British Grand Prix. My name is Kieran McGinley and this is a home circuit for many people on the grid, and I do apologise to I think it was Squeezy I said it accidentally. It was his home race and actually he's from Jersey, so I do apologise for that one. But we do have the British Grand Prix, one of the most classic circuits on the calendar. In fact, this is where Formula 1 basically started, back in the airfields in Silverstone. Obviously back then it was known as the triangle layout because there were basically about 6 corners, 4 pretty wide right angle turns, and then a big triangle where Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel is right about now. And it's since developed from then. Obviously we had the legendary layout that went under the bridge through the infield section. Now that got all changed come 2010 when the new clubhouse, you can see just in that top banner up there on your screen, that came into play. 2010 they started the start line pretty much where it was for the classic races back then, and in 2011 they moved it to the new clubhouse section, so you've got the turn 1 of Church to deal with. And this is always, I don't know what it is about this circuit, but I can never remember every single corner name. I'm pretty sure all but one corner has a name around here, and it's just so, it's difficult. It is difficult. So every time we come to the British Grand Prix, I'm just thinking, this corner has a name, I just don't know what it is. Of course I remember the classic ones like Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel, down to Club Corner. You've also got Vale as well. I do know my corners, mostly. We'll see how it goes. But Squeezy has been pretty dominant. In fact, he hasn't finished off the top 2 steps off the podium all season long. Not to put any sort of commentator's curse on him or anything, but I don't think that's ever been done before. So it should be pretty interesting to see how this race develops. And of course, we'll be taking you every step of the way. A couple of reserves tonight as well. We see Plaster coming in alongside, let me get this right, it is Dave M, and I believe Crazy Legs will also be joining us tonight as well. If you listened to Commentator's Corner last time out on Thursday, we were joined by Pursuit, who scored his first point last time out at Austria, and he was basically telling us that it was a weight off his shoulders. He was finally happy that he'd scored a point, and then when all the points got added up and everything was displayed on the championship standings table, he said it was embarrassing that he'd only got 1 point so far, but he's got a point on the board, and that's a starting point. So that's what he needs to just carry forward, and hope that he can just carry that momentum in towards the British Grand Prix. Hopefully we're not too far away now from the start of this race, and obviously by the end of this race we'll almost be at the halfway point. It won't quite be the halfway point. Halfway through the German Grand Prix is technically the halfway point in the season, but there's not really a time to do a season review at that point. And of course we will have all those races coming up for you. Hopefully on Thursday Andy will be joining us once again. Not to spoil it or anything, but I'm pretty sure Andy will be joining me back in the box on Thursday. A couple of drivers in there in the chat saying, rain, it's got to be rain. It's Silverstone. It's the British Grand Prix. Of course there's going to be rain on the horizon. That's just how it is. And, well, there you can see that is the new clubhouse right there. And I believe that is coming towards turn 3 into the arena section. And it's literally called Arena. Yes, I had to look that up. And there is the... that's the first corner there. That is a Church. And, oh no, Church is turn 2. I remember that now. Church is turn 2. So there is turn 1. That's Abbey. You see, I'm still learning these corner names. It's not easy, but there we go. And that there is Club Corner coming around the final corner. And I actually went to the 2008 British Grand Prix, and the track might as well have just been a river, a flood. And it was a fantastic race to be involved. In fact, I saw Lewis Hamilton overtake Heikki Kovalainen, of all people, when they were both racing in the McLarens, and I managed to see Lewis Hamilton win that day. Pretty rain soaked the track back then. It was a fantastic race though, and that of course was on the old circuit 2 years before they changed the circuit. And I believe it was 6 years before they changed the engine, so I was very lucky to basically have a dry or a great sound of the engines. Fantastic track to watch the cars go around, and it still is a fantastic track to go around. Take nothing away from it. The British Grand Prix always delivers in terms of drama, even with the fantastic first few corners. You can see there Squeezy once again taking his reign as the first car out on track as he makes his way down. You can see a Williams just not getting out in time. That is Dave M. And also, if you missed the Austrian Grand Prix last time out, of course we did see only our third race winner of the season, and that was Marquez's, who won in Austria, and won by a comfortable margin as well, as we see Squeezy here making his way through the first couple of corners on those soft tyres. And of course tyre wear is going to be a big issue around here, and this is one of the only, I think it's 2 or 3 tracks that has the blue-walled hard tyre, but you'll never see them. The drivers will not run the blue-walled hard tyres. They refuse to, and it's not difficult to see why. The hard tyres, they're very difficult to get up to temperature, and you know, they're just a nightmare sometimes to work with. So that's why you can see 12 out of the 14 drivers have got a set of soft tyres ready, and ready and waiting to make an impact here, as we see Squeezy making his way through now Maggots and Beckett's. Such a fantastic couple of corners here, and so much speed you can carry through there into the DRS zone as we make our way down the hangar straight and towards, I believe, will be this fantastic right-hander here. You're chucking the car in and basically hoping that it sticks as you make your way through Vale and now down towards Club Corner. You can see there Squeezy backing off. ERS has turned all the way up as he makes his way now around Club Corner and around the final corner there. You can see the Max Verstappen curve on the left-hand side there as we ride on board with Squeezy as he makes his way now down towards turn 1. Fantastic corner. You can see there Squeezy just turning off the DRS as we head through turn 1, staying in 7th gear the entire time as we head now down towards turn 3, then through turn 4 at the arena section as we now get the car in line as we now head through turn 5 and down the Wellington Straight as we make our way now towards turn 6. Bit of a short run here, and as you can see Squeezy still in 7th gear, refusing to change up to 8th gear right now as we now make our way through turn 7. Obviously, a couple of lines you can take through turn 7 here. Losing the back end slightly on the exit there as we now head through turn 8 and towards the old turn 1 of Copse Corner. And you'll see here Squeezy again refusing to change up to 8th gear. You can see turning the car in. Still wanted to try and keep full throttle on through there, through the old turn 1 as now we head through turns 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14. Through that legendary Maggot and Beckett, with you trying to hold the car in as we head through now towards the DRS zone, down towards turn 15. It's a short run down there, but as you can see, for the first time this lap, Squeezy finally changes up to 8th gear as we chuck the car in towards turn 15 here, using that curve on the left-hand side as well to maximise the exit as we now head through Vale, down towards turn 16, and then through Club Corner, through 17, and then around the final corner of turn 18, past the Max Verstappen curve. Here comes Squeezy towards the line to set the benchmark. It's a 126.3 from the Mercedes driver, and I think they'll be very, very happy with that one. Zenki here, who retired very early on from the Austrian Grand Prix last time out, he makes his way now down towards the final couple of corners. And what will he set then as he makes his way around now the final corner? Losing the back end slightly there through the middle of the corner, and Zenki now goes top. 125.8 from the McLaren driver, puts himself on top of the table right now. That is Pursuit there in third, 128.6, and he set that on a medium set of tyres. There is Ollie there making his way towards the start-finish line. He has got a car ahead of him. That's a Force India of Lighty. And what does Lighty set? That's a 127.4. How about Ollie? 126.8. So that puts him now into third place. The Red Bull driver there. Crazy there, going off the track at the old turn 1. As he now makes his way through Maggot and Beckett now. This is a fantastic camera angle to capture all the speed. It's a shame there that Crazy's not using all that speed there, but making that mistake there, or maybe backing off completely, as he actually has got damage to that front wing, so he's made a mistake somewhere and hit the wall. There's Plaster now coming towards the Wellington Straight. As now we make our way now down towards Brooklands here. As we turn the car in now, making your way towards that turn 7 now. Very easy to be impatient on the throttle here through turn 7. You've just got to have that patience as now Plaster makes his way through turn 8 and now towards Copse Corner. And you can see that he changes up to 8th gear before Copse Corner here. Unlike Squeezy, who was very willing to stay in 7th gear. As now we make our way through this high-speed section. Such a fantastic couple of corners. And you see Plaster there just looking to maximise those curves. Opens that DRS once again. As we now make our way down the hangar straight. And towards turn 15. Chucking that car in. And again, using that curb slightly on the left-hand side then. As he now makes his way through Vale and then towards Club Corner. And as he makes his way around the final corner now, what sort of time will the Ferrari driver set? It's 1:29.3. And of course, Ferrari here calling upon one of their reserve drivers for today. In fact, both their drivers today are reserve drivers in Plaster and Crazy. Full-time driver Graham here making his way past the old start-finish line towards Copse Corner now. And again, turning that car in, you can see there, letting off the throttle just fractionally there. As we see Spike there, 126.5 up into 3rd place now. That puts him in a good position right about now. He's been frustrated about qualifying, especially recently. And he says that's one part of his race that he wants to get better at. We all know how good of a driver Spike is. And for some reason qualifying just hasn't gone right for him. Here comes Graham then, coming through the final couple of corners now. And through Club Corner and making his way now through the final corner. What can Graham set in the Alfa Romeo Sauber? It's a 128.9, puts him up into 7th place, ahead of Plaster in that Ferrari. Dave here making his way now towards Copse Corner. And what's he going to be like then? He stays in 7th gear as well. As you can see then, hardly coming off the throttle, and that might cost him. He's lost the car. Across the road he goes and taps that wall. Well, that could have been much worse than it was for Dave M. And you could see there, just took too much speed into the old Copse Corner. These cars here have a lot of downforce, but they can still bite back at you if you're too confident. And Dave M has his pride and ego a little bit stunted there, but it's a run back to the pits for him, and he just gets out of the way of as many people as he possibly can. Usually now making his way now down towards turn 15. See, they're using that little bit of the curb there as he now makes his way down towards the pit lane. So Siege then making his way through turn 15 as he runs now through Vale and towards the final couple of corners. How well will he do round here? Keeps the car in check and revving the engine like nothing else. And the Red Bull driver, 126.7, puts him up into 4th place, ahead of his teammate by just 1/10 of a second. Crazy back out on circuit here, and this looks to be an outlap, and it is. And the 2-time drivers champion, Crazy, making his way around the final corner now, was the most decorated driver in TTL history until Blizzard came along and had his say on the matter. And he makes his way now down towards turn 3. He has got Maze ahead of him, who pulls straight to one side. He's not having anything to do with Crazy's lap time at this moment in time, as he now makes his way onto the Wellington Straight. And we head now down towards turn 6 here. And then heading towards turn 7. Through Woodcote. You've got to get the traction right here. As we now head through turn 8 and towards Copse Corner. Using that curve on the left hand side, you can see there Crazy much more confident in the car, heading through the old turn 1 as we now make our way through Maggots, and then it's through Beckett's. You can see there Crazy just being brave through here now as we now head our way through Chapel and down the long DRS straight now down towards turn 15. You can just hear how much Crazy's putting that engine and how much stress it's being put under right about now, as he's really doing his best to get the maximum performance out of this car. A little bit of a lock up there in towards the third to last corner, making his way now around Club and into the final corner. What sort of lap time is it from Crazy? It's P7, 128.2 from the two-time champion. And it has been a long time for Crazy since he's been out in one of these cars, since he's been out in the game. As Ollie there sets a better time, 126.2, and that puts him up to second place right about now. So a good lap time from Ollie. Squeezy there making his way now around the final corner. And it's 126.3. And I believe that was a lap time he set before. It was. As Mays has retired from the session without setting a lap time. So interesting there from Mays. Maybe no interest in qualifying whatsoever. But here comes Squeezy now as used. He's now also retired from the session here. And that's sectors 1 and 3. So that implies that they retired in the pit lane. Dave M making his way now with a new front wing. And hopefully with a little bit of as I said, pursuits there have been disqualified for parking in a dangerous location. So where is that? Well, there he goes then. Off the track he goes, and he will be starting from the back of the grid. So a nightmare for Pursuit then. Scored his first points last time out and is now disqualified. Well, I think there's something deeper than that. But Dave M comes towards the start-finish line with a new front wing, and he looks to start his flying lap. Now, of course, he really only needs to set a timed lap, and he'll be in with a chance of getting into the top 10, as Mays, Yuzi and Pursuit are out of qualifying. Squeezy here making his way back to the pit, so obviously not happy with this lap for whatever reason. We've got Lighty out there, and he's set a 126.9 so far, and that has put him up to 6th place. So he's into the 26s, but at the moment he needs to be well, it would have been a close competition with his teammate. Those two Force Indias have been pretty inseparable at the moment. However, Pursuit has been disqualified for parking in a dangerous location. Here's someone we haven't seen in this qualifying session yet. It's Alan Kay. He's currently 9th place on a 128.9. And it looks like he's making his way back to the pit lane. Up in 9th place in the Renault right now. And the Renaults here, a good race last time out. They needed it as well. After France, in front of their home crowd, both Renaults not making it to the finish line. So they had a better race in Austria and they needed it. And they'll be hoping to carry that momentum in towards the British Grand Prix. And well, in terms of the British Grand Prix, we have a British team on the front row right now. Zenki is on pole position with a Red Bull behind him of Ollie. Then it's the two Mercedes of Squeezy and Spike, with the other Red Bull of Siege in 5th. It's a Williams in 6th there of Dave M. Lighty in 7th in that Force India. Crazy in 8th in the Force India. Graham in 9th in the Alfa Romeo Sauber. Alan Kay rounding out the top 10 as that is Crazy. Yes, that's Crazy 8th now, as Dave M actually went 6th in the Williams. That just clicked for me. But Dave M then 6th place with that new front wing, of course. Alan Kay there coming into the pits. And it's also Plaster, who's just outside the top 10 right now in the other Ferrari. And the Ferraris here have not had the greatest season whatsoever. And their full-time drivers, both not here tonight. One of them is Lambo, the other is Poe. And they've not had the momentum that they wanted. And it seems like Ferrari here has gone for 2 reserve drivers, maybe given them a chance. And nothing better for the sponsors than to have an ex-champion in the car, a 2-time champion at that as well. This must be doing wonders for the sponsorship of that team right now. As we see now, that is Squeezy on an outlap. 3 minutes to go, just over. as he now heads his way through Maggot and Beckett. The car looks planted to the ground there, and Squeezy will be looking for that fastest lap right about now. He will be looking for that pole position, which is currently occupied by Zenki. There is Spike then, who makes his way out onto the track, obviously on those soft tyres, and getting some heat into them down the Wellington straight. We've also got Lighty out there in the Force India as well. Crazy in the Ferrari. Graham out there as well as he makes his way through Maggots and Beckett's now. Alan Kay's still in the pits. Blaster's off in the gravel there, as Blaster's actually retired from qualifying. So he will qualify no higher than 11th. In fact, he'll qualify no lower than 11th now. So he'll finish qualifying outside of the top 10. Squeezy then on that flying lap as he makes his way down the Wellington straight. And down towards turn 7 here. Turn 6, my apologies. As now we make our way around turn 7. As we make our way towards turn 8. With that slight left-hander out of Woodcote. And towards Copse Corner. Riding on board with the championship leader. Over 200 points already for the Mercedes driver. Incredible form from him recently. And he'll be wanting to go into the British Grand Prix with all the momentum possible. What he needs now is pole position. Using that curb there as we head through Chapel there. Down the hangar straight now. And as we make our way now down towards turn 15. Again, Squeezy refusing to use 8th gear right now. Just trying to extract everything out of the engine. As we now head down towards 16 and 17 through Vale and Club Corner now. It's all about keeping that traction in line past the Max Verstappen curb as we head through turn 18. Is it going to be enough? No, it's not. 126.1 from Squeezy there in the Mercedes. And look at him. He's going to go again. He wants to go again as well. Ollie on an outlap right now. Spike, I believe, is on a flying lap, and he is. Making his way through Copse Corner now and towards Maggot and Beckett. You can see Zenki there also on an outlap. Now he's just passed through Sector 3. So Spike then now will be the next person out of this top 4 right now to set a lap time as he flies his way down the hangar straight. And now towards turn 15 here. You've got to get this one right. As Steph in the commentary boxes all these years. As Spike then looks like he ran wide on the exit of turn 15. And that was enough to invalidate the lap time. So he comes back into the pit lane. 4th place though for Spike. He's had worse qualifying so far, but he will be annoyed at himself for that one. As Squeezy here still on a flying lap. He's on his 2nd flying lap, by the way, as he makes his way down the hangar straight and towards the final corner. There is Zenki approaching turn 6. So where is Ollie out here then? He's coming through. He's just exited Copse here. So Squeezy then making his way through the last couple of corners as Lighty retires from qualifying in 7th place right now. Squeezy makes his way towards the start-finish line. Can he go any quicker? 700ths quicker, but it is not enough for the Mercedes driver. And how about Zenki? Where is he out on track? He's coming towards Maggots and Beckett's right now. Ollie making his way through turn 15. And that looks like it's run too wide there. But he'll still continue on with his lap then. As he makes his way through the final couple of corners, round the final corner now. What can Ollie do? It's a 125.9. It would have put him 2nd, but he had his lap invalidated. And that will be it from the Red Bull driver. Here comes Graham towards the start-finish line. Can he get any higher? Yes, he can. He jumps crazy there. Up into 8th place he goes. How about Zenki making his way through the final couple of corners? He's pretty much sealed pole. He got the last few corners wrong, but that was it for Zenki. He is on pole position for the British Grand Prix. And Squeezy just couldn't do quite enough to grab pole position away from the McLaren driver. So Zenki here will be mounting some sort of charge down in towards Church. Or I should say Abbey, then Church. But there it is then. Zenki on pole position with Squeezy in 2nd. Ollie in 3rd with Spike in 4th. Siege there in 5th with Dave M in 6th. Lighty 7th with Graham in 8th. Crazy in 9th. And Alan K rounding out the top 10 with Plaster there in 11th place, just outside of the top 10. And it's Maze, Yuzi and Nexus Pursuit who did not set a lap time. And Pursuit did set a lap time actually, but he was disqualified from the qualifying session. And that is your grid then for the British Grand Prix. That is qualifying over and done with. And we have ourselves a couple of laps, I would say, to deal with here at the Silverstone circuit. 26 laps here, with all the way back in 1950. The very first Grand Prix was held here. 5.891 kilometres with a race distance of 306.198. Of course, that's full distance. So we're going to be probably racing around about 150, probably around 158, I would say, round about that. With a lap record of 130.621 by Lewis Hamilton in 2017. Now, racing aside for just a second, as sim racing community obviously devastated to hear over at Inside Line Racing Team, Leon Bentley, his father unfortunately passed away on the, I believe it was the 30th of March. That's when he put the tweet out. Shown a lot of love on Twitter. Very brave of him to express that on Twitter, and the whole community has come forward and offered him the support. So for Leon then, this formation lap will be in silence. From all of us here at the TTTV family, we wish Leon the very best, and he's all in our thoughts, and hopefully he's okay. We're ready to go here at the British Grand Prix with Zenki on pole position. Here we are then for the British Grand Prix. It's 5 red lights. Round 10 is underway, and what are the starts like? Well, Yuzi's got a drive-through penalty for jumping the start. Meanwhile, then Zenki gets into the lead then as we head through turn 1 and then through turn 2 for the very first time. Force India there running a little bit wide. That was pursuit there, as that looks like Squeezy trying to look up the inside at turn 3. Now we head through turn 4 now. It's a little bit of a snake of cars then as we make our way now through turn 5, and Zenki still in the lead then. Yuzi down in 13th place, but of course he's got to serve his drive-through penalty. Here comes Squeezy then challenging Zenki then as we head now towards turn 5. Around the outside it goes, a little bit of contact between the two of them through turn 6, now coming through turn 7, now through Woodcote, and you can see there Zenki trying to hold on around the outside, nothing doing. Then Squeezy is able to take the race lead away as we head now towards the old start finish line. Then it's the Mercedes in the lead, and that is Zenki in 3rd, Ollie in 4th. That looks like Lighty, who was ready to make a move there as we headed towards Copse Corner, but backed out of it, and now we head through Maggots and Beckett's End. We make our way through this high-speed section now. And looking good for Squeezy. He's got back up into the lead of the race. Remember, this season he has not finished anywhere else other than first and second. And it looks like Zenki's hoping to make that second now. As we now go down towards turn 15. He might try to go around the outside. Tried a little bit of a Nigel Mansell there, as Steph would say. As we now head down towards turn 16 and turn 17. You can see there Ollie just waiting behind, looking for that opening. As Zenki there tried it through turn 1 there, but at the end of lap 1, Squeezy has taken the race lead back from Zenki. There's Ollie in third. We got yellow flags around sector 3. Yuzi's coming for his drive-through. It's Crazy who's around at the final corner. So Crazy's run into some trouble there, and he is now all the way down the field. That's Yuzi, by the way, serving his drive-through penalty for jumping the start. He decides to do it straight away. In terms of weather forecast, looks like it's going to be dry for the race, but a lot of cloud around. Now that will affect track temperature. So the drivers here will have to make sure that they can hold on to their tyres for as long as they possibly can. You're looking at the one stop there. Zenki losing that back end slightly on the exit of Woodcote. Here comes Spike then, putting some pressure on Ollie as we head towards Copse Corner. Zenki's trying to do the same to Squeezy as we make our way through. Ollie there, looks like he's got a better line than Spike then. Spike might find himself dropping back a little bit. Meanwhile, Pursuit, who started from the very back of the grid, is now up to 8th place. Good start from the Force India driver, and it looks like he's trying to bounce back here, and he's just inside of his teammate there. Lighty and Pursuit have really been on the same bit of track all season long, and they've been battling hard as well. As that is looks like Nexus Pursuit having to defend there from Graham as we now head towards turn 15. Meanwhile, Dave M is looking at the back of Lighty. He's catching up as well, but it looks like right now it's a 7-car train for first place, with Squeezy leading a train then as we head towards turn 1. DRS is enabled on this lap, of course. Lap 3 has come, and Zenki still in second place there as they all bundle their way through turn 2. Now coming through turns 3 and 4 through the arena, and then coming towards turn 5. Zenki will have the DRS on Squeezy, but can he make anything of it then as we make our way down the Wellington Straight, and that is Crazy, who was retired from the race. 2-time champ is out. Now where is that? We're right on board with Yuzi then as we make our way around the final corner. It's somewhere here, and there he is. He's off. He's off completely. I think he's retired by will there, not by damage. So Crazy then becomes the first retirement of this Grand Prix. So Squeezy leads it then as we head through Copse Corner once again, as Zenki runs just slightly wide here, but you can see he's carrying much more speed then as we head through Maggots and Beckett's now. And you can see Zenki happy to run in this dirty air of Squeezy right about now, staying in the slipstream as we head into the DRS zone. This is the perfect opportunity for Zenki here to try and take the race lead. He moves to the left-hand side now, leaves it as late as possible. It's side by side now. As we head towards turn 15, he'll try and go around the outside. He'll try it. He'll run wide, though. And the Mercedes lets him back onto the track as they now run down towards turn 16. Once again, that's the McLaren there, holding on, but couldn't quite make the move stick then as we head around the final corner. Lap 4 begins, and Squeezy still leads this race then, but he's under a massive amount of pressure then from Zenki as we head through Abbey and Church, and now coming down towards turn 3 here, and can't see a lot with that camera angle, so we'll try and switch back to the onboard as Zenki still tries to put the pressure on as we head through turn number 5. And again, Zenki still in that DRS zone then as we head now towards turn 6. You can see Ollie there just moving to one side, maybe to get a bit of clear air, maybe to fill that McLaren mirror with a bit of Red Bull. Whatever the reason is, it looks like he's just trying to put that pressure on. And Zenki here in that slipstream as we make our way towards Copse Corner. Once again, it is Squeezy who leads with Zenki in second. Ollie's third with Spike in fourth. Siege then in fifth. It's Lighty sixth. Dave M seventh. Pursuit in eighth. Graham ninth. Alan K rounding out the top 10 with Maze in 11th. Plaster 12th. And Yuzi, having served his drive-through, is all the way down in 13th place. Pretty close when it comes to this part of the field. There is Siege here. It looks like he's got a good run on Spike as we make our way down towards turn 15. Looks like he's going to be too far back to try anything this time around, but he's closing that gap between himself and the Mercedes driver as we now make our way down towards turn 16, then through 17. Now coming through Club Corner. There is your race leader once again. Squeezy setting the fastest lap of the race. But he can't be lapping too much faster than Zenki here, because Zenki's still right on his tail then as we head through Church now. And now coming towards turn 3. That McLaren locking up front right. Not great for the tyre wear as Plaster has come into the pit lane. And Plaster is in, so I wonder what that one's about. Is that strategic? Are we going to see some blue wall hard tyres here? No, looks like the medium tyre's going to go on for the Ferrari. And that looks like it's going to be a 2-stop from the Ferrari then. Meanwhile, jumping back on board as we head through Woodcote with Squeezy and Zenki. Looks like these two are going to be battling throughout the season. And it's such a shame. Zenki's early form means that he's over 100 points behind right now. But better late than never. And he looks to try and mount a challenge to Squeezy then as we make our way through Maggots, then through Beckett's. And Zenki here still trying to stay on the tail of the Mercedes driver. As runs a little bit onto the grass there. That could cost him some time. And he's lucky there that Ollie is around 7/10 behind, because otherwise he would have taken full advantage of that. Meanwhile, there is Siege here still trying to close up on Spike. Trying to look at these two battles all at once. Spike running a little bit deep on the entry of turn 15, but it gives him a good exit out of turn 15. Sort of lured Siege in there. And Siege is a driver who's back on form in that Red Bull. Meanwhile, Squeezy then heading on to lap number 6. In the lead of this one. Still in the lead, I should say. Squeezy in the lead. I wonder how many laps he's led this season so far. I would say it's at least 3. At least 3 laps he's led this season. Don't know what gives me that idea, but there we go. Siege then, looking to try and take 4th place away from the other Mercedes of Spike. Right now, though, it looks like he's just slightly too far behind to try anything and to put Spike under some real pressure. Now, we have heard over these past couple of weeks Spike admitting he's made mistakes. He's made mistakes in qualifying, which compromises his race. And okay, he ran wide at turn 15, his qualifying lap, his last one anyway, which may have cost him a seat on the front row. And as you can see, they're still in 4th place, just a second behind Ollie right now, as the leaders now make their way through Maggots and Beckett's now. As now they make their way through Chapel, down the hangar straight, and once again that's going to be Zenki who has the DRS advantage as we now head down towards turn 15. You can see here in 7th gear looking for a move up the inside, tries to stick it there. He's stuck his nose in now. He's not going to back away from this one. Heading now down towards turn 15. You can see Squeezy still on the left hand side there. He's got the inside line of Squeezy, but Zenki has the inside line for Club Corner, and he will have the inside line for the last corner. No, he loses the back end just so slightly there and lost out of a chance to battle for the race lead. Then Lighty is into the pits, by the way, and obviously to change those tyres now. It looks like it's going to be a 2-stop for most of these drivers. Again, Zenki still trying to put some pressure on Squeezy then, but still nothing doing from him. And Squeezy is able to hold on to the lead of the race. What that means is that Ollie, Spike and Siege are all still trying to close in onto these two drivers here. And once again, Zenki, is he going to look for an opportunity up the inside? Definitely tries to put some pressure on Squeezy here as we now make our way through Woodcote now. Multiple ways you can take this corner. All of them are correct. As we now head up towards the old turn 1 of Cops Corner. Not really an overtaking opportunity this one, so Squeezy can rest easy at the moment. But it is an opportunity if you run wide like that. Zenki is still trying to chase down the Mercedes driver as we now head through this high-speed S section. As they both run slightly onto the grass there. But Zenki here still has got a good run once again on Squeezy as we make our way down towards turn 15. This time he doesn't try it. And you prefer to stay behind the Mercedes for now as we now make our way down towards turn 15. Again, the McLaren is just putting some pressure on the Mercedes right now. That's all he needs to do right now. Meanwhile, Siege is trying to put some pressure on Spike here. And Alan Kay has found a way past Graham here, as Graham looks to try and keep battling the Renault as we head now down towards turn 16 now, through 17. And Alan Kay has to back out of that one, letting Graham know that he's there though, that's for sure. As they make their way onto their 8th lap of this race. That's the battle for 8th place. They've got to be careful as well because Mays is right behind this battle. Only 1.2 behind so far and still in the points even after qualifying. There you can see, once again, we rejoin the battle for the lead as we now make our way through turn 7 and through Woodcote now. Zenki's still trying to put pressure on the Mercedes, who's got to watch out from Ollie behind though. And Spike here seems to have dropped a little bit further back from the front three now. So is Siege. Siege has dropped well back actually. Is he fuel saving? I'm not entirely sure. But he's switching up early. He's short shifting, that's for sure. Well, Siege, for whatever reason, is dropping back now. Meanwhile, Zenki still has that DRS then. Looking for a move. In the slipstream he goes as we head now down towards turn 15. And again, still nothing this time around. Zenki looks to try and find that gap. Runs a little bit wide on the exit of 15 as he now runs towards 16 and 17 now. Right on his tail, putting him under pressure. But we've seen Squeezy before under this sort of pressure this season, and he's managed to cope with it. Meanwhile, Siege and Dave M are into the pits. Still running aboard with Zenki then as we ride through Church, and now coming towards turn 3 now as we head towards Arena. Zenki's still trying to put some pressure on. He's got to get this traction right out of turn 4, which could really help you through turn 5, as you can see there in the slipstream with the DRS. Will he try and move in towards turn 6? He will, you know, trying to go up the inside now, but he'll have the outside line for Woodcote. And the two of them almost touched then. Zenki running very wide through Woodcote. And it looks like he's trying to get a better exit here as we head towards Copse Corner. You can see he's closing in very gradually here in the slipstream. Squeezy looking like he's going to go defensive, as Zenki knows not to try it up the inside of turn 9. That's a recipe for disaster, that one. And Zenki here still putting Squeezy under that pressure. It's allowed Ollie to close back up once again. And Spike is only about 1.5 behind this battle in particular. As Zenki this time has a much better run on Squeezy. Squeezy knows he's under threat now. He moves to the right hand side. Zenki then to the left hand side. They run side by side now as we head down towards turn 15. Once again, Squeezy has the inside line. Zenki the outside line. And they touch then on the exit of 15. Running down towards turn 16. And Squeezy's in. Squeezy is into the pits then. Well, that battling then has come to an end. And Zenki there is left out on the circuit. Now, I wonder if that was planned from Squeezy. He probably knew he wanted to pit that lap and wanted to do everything he could to keep Zenki out. That's exactly what's happened there. So that means Spike takes over 2nd place. And Pursuit here is going to take over 3rd place. Well, here's the thing. Silverstone has a woefully slow pit lane. You're running at 50, I think it's 37 mph, which is around 50 kph. And you're going there, it feels so slow. So slow. There's Blaster then, running in 13th place right now. He obviously came in beforehand, quite early on, to switch on some medium tyres. Meanwhile, a battle between the Renaults is developing as Alan Kay runs a little bit wide into turn 6 there. And then Mays runs wide through Woodcote. Gets the traction there and the exit. And I can't help but feel that Alan Kay just sort of moved to one side there for Mays. So Mays now up to 4th place, but yet to stop in this one. And it's lap 10. We have 17 laps to go. And the pit stop phases are just beginning. So Dave M then came in for a new set of tyres. And after his drive-through, is now ahead of Blaster. Meanwhile then, Zenki's into the pits now. Let's see how powerful the undercut is here. You can see Squeezy is just making his way onto the hangar straight. And this is how much this pit lane costs you. That's it, 60 kph as you wake away slowly for what feels like an eternity to your pit box. On goes some media tyres for Zenki as he makes his way now out of the pit lane. And now very, very slowly towards the pit lane exit. There comes Squeezy around Club Corner and around the final corner now on his set of medium tyres. And where will that put Zenki then? He's now over the limiter line and out of the final corner he goes. Can he stay ahead of Squeezy? Yes, he can! So Zenki makes the overcut work on Squeezy then. And Spike then is rejoined ahead of Ollie. So again, the undercut there worked that time around. So Ollie there will be hugely frustrated with that one. But he'll have the DRS then on Spike as he moves to the left-hand side. Then they run side by side down the Wellington straight. Making our way now down towards turn 6. Red Bull has the inside line. There's not a lot Spike can do to defend from that one as they head towards Woodcote. And Spike now running wide again. And now losing the position to Siege. He's now down to 6th place. Meanwhile, battle for 2nd place rages on as they make their way now through turn 9. Zenki runs a little bit wide, and Squeezy here might be able to take full advantage of that one as we now make our way through 10, through 11, then through 12, 13 and 14 right about now. And Zenki there runs deep, runs onto the grass then, and this could be an easy spot for Squeezy in the DRS. Moves to the left-hand side. Could that be a case of Zenki under pressure then? Making our way now down towards turn 15. Squeezy takes the 2nd place back from Zenki, but Zenki's not done there. He'll want to try and move around the outside, will he? Trying to put Squeezy under any sort of pressure right now. But he's lost the 2nd place and the net lead, if you like. He has the DRS then down the start-finish straight and on towards turn 1. Very short DRS zone because, well, they wanted to run the DRS all the way through turn 1 and 2 and have it end at the entry of turn 3. But after Roman Grosjean went off, they decided against that. Zenki then, meanwhile, in the DRS zone now, in zone 2. Squeezy moves to the left-hand side. Zenki moves even further to the left-hand side. Up the inside he goes then as they head towards Woodcote. And Squeezy just about keeping it on the inside there. You can see that front wing end plate as they run side by side now on the exit of Woodcote. And it's now all they touch going through turn 8 then. Squeezy and Zenki getting a little bit too close for comfort there. But as they make their way through turn 9, I think it's going to show that these two are not going to back down from their positions at all. They're battling and they're still closing in on Mays up ahead as Alan Kay gets himself a 10-second time penalty. I can't help but feel that could have been what the yellow flag was earlier on the top left-hand side of your screen as Dave has retired from the session then. Meanwhile, Zenki, is he trying to move up the inside of 15? No, he's not. He stays behind for now. And this battle for 2nd place rages on then as we now head our way down towards turn 15. We'll be coming on to lap 13 very, very shortly. There are the yellow flags. Are we going to see a stricken Williams anywhere? We're not. So they've cleared that, the damage then. And Dave M's car is gone. And he is out of this race then. Meanwhile, Zenki then, is he going to try and move up the inside at turn 3? No, he's not. Making our way now through Arena. And in towards turn 5. Zenki's got to get this exit right. Looks like he's got it. And now in the slipstream with the DRS wide open now. And again, Squeezy doesn't do a lot to defend that time around as we head towards turn 7. As Zenki tries to leave his braking as late as possible. Shuts the door on Squeezy there. And Zenki, just before Woodcote, takes back 2nd place. And Squeezy there just couldn't do a lot about that one. You could see Zenki just had that superior pace going into turn 7 there. Not a lot he could have done. And Squeezy, look at that, has to back out of that one. Maybe not running as high as Aero as the McLaren. But Squeezy here still leading this championship at least. And remember, he's never finished anywhere lower than 2nd place. Mays, meanwhile, is in the lead of this one, but he's yet to stop. And I wonder if he's going to let this battle go on for much longer. As Zenki looks for a way past the Renault drivers. We make our way now down towards turn 16 here. And Mays still leading this one. As you can see there, runs a little bit wide on 17. Now look at this. That's the McLaren joining on the inside of turn 18. Unconventional to say the least. Now going through turn 1. He'll have the inside line. And he's taken the lead. And so is Squeezy. Through turn 1 they go. And they know that they're desperate to try and get the lead of this race. And they're both trying to get past Mays. They've made the move stick then. And Mays now running in 3rd place. That is Ollie behind him. Meanwhile, Squeezy will have some DRS on Zenki. You can see Zenki under pressure. He feels that pressure now. He's already made his move to defend. And then he's moved back onto the racing line on the Wellington straight. He's under a huge amount of pressure right about now. Look at that. Parking it on the apex to try and get that better exit. as we head through turn 8. Now coming towards turn 9 now, as Squeezy still putting that pressure on Zenki as we make our way through turn 9 now. Heading towards Maggot and Beckett here. Zenki still holds on to this lead. Meanwhile then Ollie, it's his turn now to try and get past Maze. I think he's going to wait for the DRS zone. I think he is. He'll use that slipstream. He'll use that ERS as Maze then pulls to one side and rather lets Ollie go. He knows it's not worth battling. And there is Siege as well, who's looking to try and make a move past sooner rather than later. Lap 14 of this Grand Prix. We are at the halfway mark of the British Grand Prix. And it is Zenki who leads. Squeezy's in second with Ollie in third. Maze yet to stop. He runs in fourth with Siege in fifth. Then it's Spike in sixth. Lighty seventh. Pursuit in eighth. Graham ninth. Blaster 10th. Uzi 11th. Alan K in 12th place. Well, these front runners will be looking to try and make the one-stop work. Meanwhile then, Siege up the inside of Maze as we head through turn 3. Now towards Arena. They'll try around the outside here. Maze will leave him the space. As we head through turn 5 now. Siege again has that DRS. Moves to the right-hand side. Probably closing on Maze quicker than he thought there. As we now make our way down towards turn 7 there, you can see Maze concedes the position eventually. Because he knows it's not worth battling. That's not his battle right now. His battle is getting those tyres to last as long as possible. And here we are, lap 15. As Zenki leads from Squeezy then. And once again, to remind you of that stat, Squeezy this season so far has not finished any lower than second place in this season. And that looks like that run is going to continue on. Squeezy here in the slipstream of Zenki, then moves to the left-hand side in 7th gear as much as he can here. Still too wide through turn 15. Squeezy has to run a little bit wide. A little bit of contact there on the rear tyre of the McLaren, but goes up the inside at turn 16. Zenki has the inside for turn 17. He'll have the inside for turn 18 as well. Too wide through here. Never normally ends well, but these two have made it work. And Squeezy round the outside gets the lead back. What a battle between these two we're having. It's absolutely fantastic. And Squeezy then takes back the lead of this race then. Meanwhile, Spike there in 6th place. Looking to try and find a way past Maze as we head now down towards turn 3. And you can see there Maze with the tyres here. Just starting to struggle a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit. The pace is definitely dropping off those tyres though. And he knows it. He just has to try and make those tyres last as long as possible. But here you can see the battle for the lead of the race then as we head through Woodcote. As Spike then makes his move into turn 7 there. Or turn 6 I should say. As now we move through turn 8. Looking at this battle, 11 laps to go. And Zenki still has to find that way past. He knows he's got the pace. He knows he's got the car to do it. It's catching Squeezy. But it's another thing to overtake him and make the move stick. And that's proving difficult. He'll have the DRS though on Squeezy as we make our way now down towards turn 15. Clouds have been looming over the entire race so far. And Zenki here coming towards turn 15 now. And as you can see, coming down towards 16. He's still behind. Riding aboard that front wing here of Zenki. Still trying to put some pressure on Squeezy as they round the final corner. We have 10 laps to go here at the British Grand Prix. As we make our way towards turn 1. And that's Maze getting a 5-second stop go for speeding in the pit lane. And it's such a difficult pit lane here. You're coming from well over 200 kilometers per hour all the way down to 60. But he does pit in. And that looks like it's going to be a set of soft tyres. That will get him to the end of this race then. He's got to do 10 laps on them. There you can see Zenki still putting that pressure on the Mercedes. As you can see, Squeezy takes that middle line. Going through Woodcote. And on the exit here, Zenki is looking for that way pass. 2 wheels over that line then, completely legal. As we now head towards Cops. And Zenki here, not afraid at all of the dirty air. In fact, he's gained on Squeezy here through Cops corner as we now head through Maggots and Beckett's now. As you can see there, Zenki's not afraid to chuck this car through the corners. It seems to be the corners where this car is really excelling. But just down the straight, he struggles to get away from Squeezy. Heading now down towards turn 15 now. And Zenki here still through the corners, able to take advantage. He put a later apex in, and Squeezy there, you could see that just on the track there. And Zenki here coming around the final corner. 9 laps to go here as they both head towards turn 1. It is Squeezy leading from Zenki. Behind them it's Ollie, and it's Siege, Spike, Lighty, Pursuit, Maze, Graham. Plaster rounding out the top 10. It's Yuzi and Alan Kay in 11th and 12th place. Zenki here still wanting to pile on this pressure then as we head down towards turn number 6. And then heading through Woodcote now. Again, you can see the difference in line. Squeezy opted to take basically the middle of the road for Woodcote, and Zenki opted to try and keep it tight. And you can see the exit speeds are pretty similar right about now as we head now towards Copse Corner. They both back out a little bit, but you can see Zenki's carrying so much more speed through turn 9 there. He's really confident in the car right now as we now make our way through Maggots and Beckett's now. And in that slipstream with that DRS, just losing that back end slightly, a little bit of oversteer through the corner, managed it well. Here comes Zenki then, moves to the left hand side, coming down towards turn 15 now. He'll have the outside line, running a little bit onto the grass there. Still got the outside line, can he stay on the track? Squeezy's not going to let him. As we now head down towards turn 16 here, the McLaren's got the inside line. A little bit of touching, but there you can see then Zenki just backs out of it. Wasn't happy. He's going too wide through there and backed out of the move completely. But all the time they're doing this, Ollie is right behind them. 3rd place at the moment. And Squeezy here just under that pressure. We have, I believe, 8 laps to go. Do not go anywhere. This is going to be a fantastic finish to this race for what could be a 3-car battle for the lead of this race. Hold on to something. Zenki here making his way now down towards turn 7 now. Turn 7 now. There we go. Through Woodcote. And again, just got to watch the exit on Woodcote here. As Zenki runs onto the curb very slightly on the exit. That might cost him a little bit. But you can see he's gaining and gaining now as we head through turn 9. And again, you can see Zenki much happier to carry more speed than Squeezy through there. As we now head through Baggots and Beckett's here, Zenki has to back off quite a bit there. But just give himself enough grip to turn in. And into the DRS zone they go now. Once again, Zenki will have the pace. He'll have something here to have a go at Squeezy. Moves to the left-hand side as late as possible. Again, this time he tries to go around the outside, but this time tries a little bit of a switchback here. Now he's going to go around the outside here at turn 16. It'll give him the inside line for the next 2 corners. Squeezy won't want that to happen, though. He's left the door open, though, as we now head through turn 18. Just about... Oh, no, they come together. Squeezy's into the wall. He's out of the race. Oh my goodness, Zenki and Squeezy come together at turn 18. I can't believe it. Oh my goodness. Squeezy retires from his first race this season with 7 laps to go. And that looked a case of Squeezy turning into turn 18. Zenki not backing out of it. Just a slight tap, that's all it took. And Squeezy is out of this race. And that means then Ollie has taken the race lead of the British Grand Prix in the Red Bull, and I can't help but think that he was waiting for something like that to happen. I wonder if there's any damage to the car of Zenki here. There must be damage to that front wing at least. Let's see what he's like through turn 9 then. Does he have to switch down? Yes, he does. He does. There is damage to that McLaren, and Red Bull here might be jumping for joy a little bit. They might be on for a 1-2 here as they make their way through Maggots and Beckett's. Here comes Siege then, ready to take this position away from Zenki. Round the outside he goes with the DRS wide open. And at the moment now, it is a Red Bull 1-2. And a couple of laps ago, they only had 1 spot on the podium. That was 3rd place. Now, they've got a 1-2. And this could be Red Bull's first 1-2 of the season. They have 6 laps to go here as Ollie makes his way around the final corner. It's 6 laps now to go. Well, I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. 2 championship rivals coming together And no doubt, Squeezy will be straight to the stewards with that one. Meanwhile then, Spike here up the inside of the McLaren in towards turn 3. And again, Zenki here is just looking to try and limp to the end of the race. And at the moment, it's not going well. And McLaren here will have the DRS of Spike. You can see there, Spike's car's not set up for these straights at all here. But Zenki knows he's not going to try and battle there. There you can see the damage right-hand side. I don't know how I didn't see it earlier, but yes, the right-hand side of that front wing is damaged. End plate's off. That's going to cost him a lot of downforce. That's why he's struggling so much with understeer out there. But he's doing the best he can with a wounded car. And what could have been a chance at 25 points is now outside of the podium places. Well, I can't think that Ollie would have seen this coming at all. As we head now down towards turn 15, it is Ollie who leads then, with Siege there in second. It is Spike in third, Zenki fourth, trying to limp home with this damaged front wing. It's Lighty in fifth there, and I wonder, 12.8 seconds, 5 laps, 6 and a bit, or 5 and a bit if you're picky, but 5 laps to go. 12.6 is the gap between Lighty and Zenki here. It may not be caught down the straights, but through the corners could be a chance for Lighty to get something here. It could be 4th place on the cards, but you know, 5 laps to go. You're talking 2 seconds a lap, just over. As Yuzi and Alan Kay are both into the pits, no doubt. They want that fastest lap. No point for it yet though, boys. Ollie leading this one, and I dare say he was not expecting this one. That is Siege in second then. It's a Red Bull 1-2 at the moment. And that is Spike in third, the lone Mercedes now. And he'll be looking to try and get some points, some good points on the board at the moment. Well, Zenki's behind him, so their direct rivals, McLaren, won't be scoring many more points than Mercedes today. In fact, they will be scoring no more points than Mercedes. I can dare say, though, that Red Bull are on for 44 points, and they're on to take over second place in the Constructors' standings. It has been a resurgence for Red Bull. And Ollie here, well, in the driver's standings, he's currently 3rd place on 73 points. And Spike is ahead of him on 80 points. That means it's a gap of 7 points right now. And as you can see, the gap is 10 points. Ollie could be taking away 2nd place in the championship from Spike as we head towards the German Grand Prix. As it stands, that's what's going to happen. 4 laps to go here. And Lighty there, that gap has come down to 10.8 seconds. It's not a million miles away, I'll tell you something. And I wonder if the engineer has told Lighty about the damage to Zenki ahead. Because at the moment, it doesn't look like Lighty's going to do it. He's on 16-lap-old medium tyres. He came in very early. Well, I told you, the British Grand Prix, and here at Silverstone, it always delivers on drama, on battles. Such a good battle between the two of them. But all it takes there is that lapse, is that inch there, and it's all over. And I have to say, they were battling hard but fair. It was a fair battle. But, well, sometimes battles end like that. You hate to see it sometimes, especially between 2 championship rivals. As I say championship rivals here, Zenki 30 points, but he has been really a thorn in the side of Squeezy here today in more ways than one. And he will be looking to try and outscore him as much as possible now. That's all he can do after that battle. Well then, Ollie here is going to start lap 24. It's 3 laps to go here at the British Grand Prix. Spike here is 1.7 behind Siege at the moment, and looking to ruin Red Bull's day right now. Well, all Red Bull have to do to take 2nd place in the Constructors at the moment is finish ahead of Zenki. They're doing that right now. So if they lose this position to Spike, it's not the end of the world for them. But I know from experience, Siege and Spike here they're friends off the track. But you know, there's a great respect between the two of them. They will have a great battle if they're close enough on track. As he now make our way through Woodcote with Spike then. Zenki now is 9.2 seconds ahead of Lighty. Lighty is just not quite doing enough here to close that gap. As we make our way now in towards turn 7. Towards turn 7 now, I should say. As Lighty there is just trying to get that car home now on those worn medium tyres. 17 lap old medium tyres right now. They've still got to go 2.5 more laps, so it's going to be a while there. Plus, I mean, while 19 laps on medium tyres as well. Let's not forget about him. There's Ollie there making his way now down the short straight towards 16 and 17. Then around turn 18 here. Well, penultimate lap of the race started by Ollie. Cease there in second place. Spike in third, 1.9 behind. So the gap has stabilised right now. That's just what Siege wants here. As the gap just creeps over 2 seconds as Spike headed through turn 1. Pursuit there in 6th place. Currently on a set of medium tyres. Well, he started at the very back of this race right now. Only a point scored in Austria. It's going to be plenty more this time around. Mays in 7th. With Graham there in 8th place. Plaster in 9th as a reserve driver. He's going to be grabbing some points there for Ferrari. And it's better than nothing for them, that's for sure. Usually they're running in 10th place with Alan Kay running in 11th. And Ollie there making his way through turn 9. Well, he was behind that battle. He saw it all unfold. And whether or not he was expecting it, he's got the lead of this race right now. And it looks like we're looking at the 4th man to win a race this season. It started off with Squeezy's dominance. Jay, who since retired, won a race. He won the 2nd round, that's for sure. It's been Squeezy from China to France. Odems then had his say. And he won in Austria. Today, though, could be our 5th different winner of the season. In fact, no, it's our 4th. It could be our 4th different winner of the season now. After 10 races. And it's not one that Ollie would have expected. He's 3.1 ahead of his teammate. He's comfortable right now. He's comfortable to just get to the end. Healthy gaps all across the field right now. And without taking penalties into account, it looks like Ollie here might be sailing to a British Grand Prix win. I asked him last week on Thursday, home Grand Prix is this, Ollie? He said, no, I'm from Jersey. Might have offended him there. He's gone one better. He has come to Britain. That is not home Grand Prix. Now coming through turn 9, 3.1 ahead of his teammate. And I dare say he was not expecting this on the cards whatsoever. But in Formula 1, it ain't over till it's over. Until you get to that checkered flag. As we know too well in TTL F1. Ollie now makes his way down the hangar straight for the final time then. As he makes his way towards turn 15. I wasn't expecting it. I reckon half of you weren't expecting it either. But as Ollie makes his way around the final couple of corners now. He might be, and he will be, the 4th different race winner in season 13. Ollie in the Red Bull wins in Britain. What a fantastic result. And he just pips the Red Bull there. He had a penalty. And Siege loses out on his race win by 0.04 of a second. Spike there rounds out the top 3 in a stricken Mercedes. He gets a podium. Zenki limps home in 4th place. Let's have a look and see where Lighty finishes on penalties. He finishes in 5th place then. Nexus then builds on his points finish last time out. And he's able to come around the final corner. He will be picking up 6th place in the Force India. And in the end then, he gets a good and a decent points finish. Mays then coming around the final couple of corners. 7th place, especially after retiring from qualifying. And he has a 5-second stop-go penalty that goes unserved. But it won't make too much of a difference. There is Graham then in 8th place. And again, it's a good amount of points for Graham then. He'll score 4 points more for himself and for Sauber here as he makes his way towards the line. That is 8th place for Graham then. And Plaster will be the last person to finish on the lead lap. Yuzi, by the way, finishes in 10th place. And he'll be getting that final point. Plaster then last man on the lead lap to finish. He'll be grabbing 2 points for Ferrari. Alan Kay finishing in 11th place, a lap down. But your race winner is the 4th different winner of Season 13. Ollie takes the win in Britain. It is a Red Bull 1-2, and Red Bull takes 2nd place in the constructors' standings right about now, and they're thrilled about it too. Ollie, with his first race win of the season, takes over 2nd place in the driver standings. No doubt Red Bull will be shocked and also thrilled about this result. A 1-2 here at the British Grand Prix. It's Ollie taking the race win. Siege missing out by 0.04 of a second. Just that little mistake maybe. Somewhere out on the track, Siege will be kicking himself there. But Spike rounds off the podium then with Zenki in 4th, Lighty 5th with Pursuit in 6th, Maze in 7th with Graham in 8th, Plaster 9th and UC rounding out the top 10. It's Alan Kay in 11th place then, and Squeezy, Dave M, Crazy Legs, all 3 of them retiring from this race. And Squeezy, for the first time, does not finish a race this season. Well, as we head back to the lobby now, we have a huge race to reflect on right about now, as Ollie takes his first race win of the season and takes over 2nd place in the Drivers' Championship by 3 points right about now. It's close between himself and Spike. Obviously, we will have Commentators Corner in a separate stream. Make sure you do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you're notified every time we go live. And funnily enough, you'll be notified when Commentators Corner goes live in just a couple of minutes' time. You can also follow TTL on Twitter. The handle is at TTL F1. TTL underscore F1, I should say. And you can also follow me on Twitter if you like, at KSMCG F1. Commentators Corner will be coming up in just a couple of minutes' time. Stay tuned to the channel.